Right, I think we'll make a start. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to our open event today. Great pleasure to welcome all of you to our evening. My name is Kelay. I'm the principal of Thorns Collegiate Academy. I started 18 months ago, and we were at the time Thorns Community College. I think most of you are aware that we academised a year ago. So we're going to spend about 20-25 minutes just telling you about Thorns and the activities that we do. But I thought I'd set a little bit of context for you about Shireland Collegiate Academy Trust. So with the academisation, we actually became part of Shireland Collegiate Academy Trust. Shireland Collegiate Academy are based in Smethwick. It's not too far away, it's about 6-7 miles from here. And the advantage of partnering with Shireland is that because they're not too far away, they're able to support us and understand the geography and the demographic of the area and support us because it only takes about 25-30 minutes to get there, and so their staff often come here and we go there to collaborate and share ideas. That sets the context for Shireland. As you can see, quite a difficult catchment area with lots of challenges, but the line that says judged outstanding in 2006, 2010 and 2013 is the standout one there. My background is that this is my fourth school. I've done 20 odd years in Sandwell schools, and I was also the vice principal at Shireland Collegiate Academy for a number of years before I moved on. And the Progress 8 figure, it's a government recognised figure to measure the progress of schools, and their progress figure of plus 0.54 puts them in the top 7% of the country. So a truly outstanding school with outstanding results. The trust itself has grown. They now have 2 secondaries and 2 primaries within the trust. And as you can see, we'll grow further. So Mark Grundy, who I believe is here, the CEO of the Shireland Collegiate Academy Trust, his mission statement is to grow the schools, but no bigger than 10 to 12 schools, so they don't become a massive multi-academy trust, but definitely work with local schools. And as you can see, the names of the schools from there, I happen to know that West Bromwich Collegiate Academy, the building work has started there, and also Shireland Technology Primary, they're actually recruiting for September 2019. So I mentioned the outstanding judgment. Grade 1, it doesn't get much better than that, everyone. It's grade 1 in every single category. So a real privilege to be working with an outstanding partner. And I'll just show you 2 more slides about Shireland before we move on to Thorns. Those are some of the comments that the Ofsted inspectors made at the last inspection, particularly around the behaviour of students is impeccable. They are keen, they're lively, a real positive set of feedback and comments. And the other one, in terms of teaching, is outstanding. Lessons are planned extremely well. All of those things we're now putting in place at Thorns. So we have changed. The transformation started a year ago. Brand new website, and I'm sure many of you visited the website to have a look at our curriculum and our policies. Brand new uniform. I personally think that our students look stunning, very smart in their uniform. We've had a new name, we've had a new logo. So a lot of work went in over the last 12 months in terms of our identity. One of the things that Mrs. Taylor is going to speak to you about, and Mrs. Taylor is our assistant principal. Again, she's seconded over from Shireland to work on the Literacy for Life curriculum. And Mrs. Taylor will tell you a lot more about L4L in a few moments. But we run a design course for all of our students. Our focus is around digital literacy and digital technology, and so that is one of the things that we pursue with our youngsters. We did set up a brand new behaviour management services structure, a BMS, and I'm sure all the children in this audience would never end up in BMS, but it is our facility to deal with behaviour, so we take a very strict line with behaviour in lessons. Any low-level disruption or passive learning is dealt with promptly, and we have a team of dedicated behaviour workers to pick up that. So that's a real plus point and has moved our teaching and learning and quality in the right direction. I have a relentless pursuit of standards. My expectations are up there. They will not diminish. So my expectations of our youngsters and our staff are that we set very challenging targets for all of our youngsters. Progress 8 plus 1, so Progress 8 0 is the national average. We set a challenging target beyond that for all of our youngsters. Working in partnership with the families and the community is something that I believe in strongly, and I'm working with many of the community organisations around the Dudley Borough to come and support our youngsters. And I think my mantra at the bottom, very similar to the principle at Shireland, is insistent, persistent and consistent. And if we get those three things right, I believe we'll be a good to outstanding academy at the next visit for Ofsted. So, little mention about our results. The government table should be published shortly. In fact, the checking exercise started today. I'm of the belief, and the indicators are showing me this, that we will end up being the most improved school in the borough when the figures are published. So I urge you to look out for those. So our progress has doubled, which is a significant achievement in a short space of time. So you can see some of our photographs. A number of students achieved grade A stars and grade 9s and have gone on to King Edward's and the other colleges to study all sorts of science A levels. Some have gone on to BTECs and vocational delivery. I talked about behaviour. For me, absolutely important that we get this right. I believe that the previous perception was that behaviour at Thorns was an issue. I can strongly say to you now, hand on heart, that behaviour is extremely well managed by all of our staff, and I invite all of you to come in next week to have a look and see for yourselves and put me to the test. We have introduced this year a series of focus days, so we have 14 days across the year where we collapse the curriculum and do a whole host of enrichment activities, whether that be external trips to theatres, museums, asking speakers to come in and work with our youngsters. So those will add and enrich to our curriculum, again with a focus on digital literacy. So, part of this is about raising academic standards and making sure that the youngsters and Thorns achieve the very best by the end of year 11. My own two children, one is in year 9 and one is in year 7. So I totally understand the decision that you guys are having to make for next year. So I did exactly the same as what many of you are doing, visited lots of schools, asked the questions. I asked the questions with my dad hat on around academic standards, but I was really focused in on the wider curriculum and the enrichment, the sports clubs, the extracurricular activities. And what you're going to see now is a short video of just some of the things we do here at Thorns. small selection, there are many more. So again, absolute commitment to run as many enrichment events and activities as possible. I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Taylor for a few moments. Over to you, Miss.
I think it's really important. Good evening, everybody. And I think it's really important that you meet Mr. Kelay, yourself, and the chapter, all the students and the staff here. And we also think it's really important that Year 7 and Year 8 get a chance to talk to you, because they obviously have experienced. Tyler in Year 7 is literally, this is his 3rd week. So, you know, it really is important that you hear from him what his experience has been like. So I'm going to introduce you to Tyler. This is Tyler. He's quite nervous. It's quite a big thing for him to stand up and speak in front of all the parents, but I know he's going to do an absolutely fantastic job. And then he's going to be followed by Lucy. Lucy's in Year 8, so of course she's actually gone through a year in Year 7 at Thorns, so we thought it would be really interesting to hear from their perspectives. We haven't told you what to say, have we, Tyler? No. Right, I'll hand over to Tyler. Thank you, Tyler.
Hello, my name is Tyler. I came from Shireland Primary School, and I would like to tell you about my time at Thorns Collegiate Academy. I came to summer school for the first week of the summer holidays. The first day we were put in animal groups and I was the gazelle. We made a t-shirt based around them. Day 2, we finished our t-shirts and had a visit from the animal lady. She bought a tarantula, lizard and a snake. Day 3, we spent some time in our classrooms learning all about the gazelles. Then they can outrun a cheetah by running in zigzags. Day 4, we made a picture of a dolphin out of pieces of card cut into squares. And in the afternoon, we made animal masks. Day 5, we watched a movie called We Bought a Zoo. It's about people who sold their home for a zoo. We also had ice cream on that day too. My new form is called 7D, D for Dab. We are the best form in the school. Our teacher is called Mrs. Bedell. There are other forms too. It goes from 7A to 7G. We stay in the same room for the majority of our lessons. We are taught L. It stands for Literacy for Life. We spend 17 hours a week doing it, and we get our own devices to work on. I really love the uniform. It's different to our primary because we have a blazer, a tie, and also we have to have our top button. Break and lunch times are similar to our primary, but we have to have our lunches at 8 and 9. Break and lunch times are also shorter. My first impressions of the school are that it's a great school. There's everything a school needs: good behaviour, lots of equipment, and great teachers, and much more. Thank you for taking your time to listen to my speech.
I chose to join Thorns last year because I loved the wide range of clubs and the PE facilities, as well as being able to be one of the first to start my secondary school journey with L4L, as well as the new uniform and devices. During Year 7 and now 8, we study L4L, which stands for Literacy for Life, and all the separate topics and a range of different activities, such as art, PSHE, RE, English, history, maths and science, all within the one block. It was beneficial for me because I know, as it was a new school, I would not be able to remember where all my different classes were. L4L continues all the way up to halfway through Year 9, with 17 hours of L4L in Year 7, 11 hours in Year 8, and only 5 hours in Year 9. Some of the themes we study are planets, water, iRobot, Sisters and Me, Black Gold, Journeys, Family, Fairy Tales and Pantomimes as silent movies. My personal favourite was silent movies because we were able to create our own silent movies as well as edit it and have a small Oscar award. There are many opportunities at Thorns, as well as after-school clubs like dance, basketball, football, music, drama and performing arts. The best thing about Thorns is some of the amazing staff and the amount of learning that gets done now BMS, which stands for Behaviour Management Service, has been launched, as well as being one of the only year groups that have access to devices. We are also marked on a competency, so we know how well we are doing.
It's really lovely tonight to see loads of students that I've actually been out in the primaries visiting to advertise our open evening, and also to tell the children a little bit about Literacy for Life, which I think is really a unique selling point for Thorns. It's a curriculum that's very similar to the model that the children have experienced at primary school. We have, shamelessly stolen lots of good practice that the primary schools actually use. And we've got an integrated curriculum where the children are with their LFL teacher for 17 hours a week. And we think that really helps your children make that transition. For some children will take transition in their stride. It doesn't faze them. But for other children, it is a really big step. And we feel that this model just makes that step just more manageable for them. So, like Lucy very beautifully put, it's 17 hours a week in Year 7, it's 11 hours a week in Year 8, and it's 5 hours a week in Year 9. And for those 17 hours in Year 7, they are with one teacher. That teacher gets to know them in a way that they're used to at primary school. It's a great point of contact for you. They can report back on all of the subjects that they deliver to the students, and the students actually have their own classroom. Part of your tour tonight, if you haven't been already, please go to the Literacy for Life base so you can see where your children will be. And Mr. Kelay's organised it so that really Year 7 and 8 have the complete ownership of that block. And it means, students feel very comfortable. It's almost like a school within a school. You heard Lucy mention the competencies. We involve the children in assessing themselves. They get very familiar with the competencies. They know where they are, and they know how that relates to GCSE. All the information from the competencies we put into a tracker that then monitors how well and predicts how well they're going to do at GCSE. We have an online portal. I use mine every day. I don't know what I'd do without it. And what I've said to parents in the past, if you ever want to know what your child's doing at school, go on to our class sites, have a look at the lessons. Staff in LFL put their lesson plans up. They put up the PowerPoints. They put up any resources, any announcements for the whole of the year group or just for one of the classes, you'll find on the portal. And it's a great way for you to share in their learning, because very often they'll come home talking about something. You might not know what it's about, but if you pop onto the portal, have a look at the plans, it's a superb way of supporting the child with their learning. We have a mixed bag when it comes to homework. We try and offer online homework. We have more traditional homework, as in worksheets. And we also have something called flip learning. Now, I think the best way of describing what flip learning is it's almost like flipping a pancake. You're turning it on its head. So traditionally, homework would be set after a lesson. So the children would take home to extend their learning or recap on learning. What we found with flipped learning is children get to learn before they come to us. So if there's a particular content we need them to know, they can learn that at home with you. They can talk about that at home with you. They can watch a video. They can read something. And then when they get to us, we've got a bit more time to teach them the skills. So we try and have a mixed approach. So L4L will offer online homework, and if you haven't got devices at home, we run a homework club twice a week where the children can get their surfaces and devices from their L4L classrooms, complete the homework. It's supported by L4L teachers. Then there'll be a more traditional approach, project-based or worksheets, and then of course split, teaches in a big way. So, transition 2. When I went out into the primaries, I talked very much, because when I asked the children what are they most worried about, children time and time come up with making friends, because they're moving into a school with 200 children in their year group. They're coming from primaries, some of the primaries are just one form entry, and it is daunting. So the one reoccurring thing the children all said to me was they were nervous about making new friends. Well, we've organised it. We have our traditional transition days, which are at the end of July, induction days. The children come over, they meet their LFL teacher, and they spend time during the academic year in Thorns in July. But then we additionally run a summer school. And this year I had 152 children at summer school. It was one of the hottest weeks of the year, but I couldn't have said it any better, Tyler. We had some good fun, didn't we? Yeah. We had a great week. And it just meant the children could go home at the end of that week knowing that they'd already made friends. So when they came in September, those friendship groups had already been established. And very often the children, they were exchanging numbers on that last day as we queued the ice cream van, because they made an effort to try and see each other over the 6 weeks. And it just meant it's just not quite as scary. And the other benefit, which I tell all the primary children, is when we come up for summer school, the only people that are here are us. We have the run of the school. So it's a great way, again, for the new Year 7s to find out where the lunch and brunch is, time their classroom, And again, it takes that sting, that fear, out of that first day when they begin with us in Year 7. So, I'm hoping you'll make it up to Alfrel. I know all of the ambassadors will do that for me, so you can actually see it in action and meet the teachers that are there. And also, all around the Alfrel building are display boards that are prompts and visual images of the themes that we actually study. And silent movies always is a firm favourite. And with that, I'll hand back to Mr. Kelay.
Right, thank you, Matt. So, finally from me, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your valuable week to come and view our facilities, ask lots of questions. And I encourage all of you to ask those questions. I made an offer about 10 minutes ago. Please take the opportunity to come and visit us during the daytime. If you've got any doubts, we've got open evenings, open mornings all of next week, other than Monday, and we're open 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. So if you do wish to come and view the Academy in action, please take that opportunity. A final reminder from me, I think many of you got the little cards and little sticker sheets where you collect a stamp for a sticker from each of the areas. We do have a prize draw for an Amazon Fire tablet, so I'm sure if you complete those and hand them in at the end of the evening, fill in the questionnaire, that will be very much appreciated. Thank you once again. I do want to keep it nice and short because it's very warm in here, and so we've had about 20 minutes. You've got plenty of time to explore the Academy, and thank you for attending. Most welcome.